He opened the door, because the banging sounded like someone trying not to die. The rancher kept the rifle low, one eye on the night. A woman stood on the porch, dust on her face, a bundle locked tight in her arms. The bundle made a thin animal sound. He tasted old fear. "Please," she said. "Wrong house," he said. "Right sin." She peeled back the blanket an inch. A copper badge flashed, a sheriff's star on a leather thong. His hand flinched. He had seen that shape in a courtroom where his father's name went cold. "I can't keep him safe alone," she said. "Find the law. The law made this." He looked past her shoulder. 2 truck lights idled on the road like eyes that did not blink. Engines purred without moving. "You're hunted," he said. "We are." The bundle coughed. The rifle grew heavier. "Inside," he said. He stepped back. She crossed the threshold, like someone walking into water. He shut the door, while she set the badge on his table instead of the baby. Metal on wood sounded like a dare. "Say what you want," he said. "Shelter. 1 night. Nothing longer. 1 night might be all we have." They did not move. The house listened. He lifted the bundle from her arms. The weight surprised him. He had carried calves with more kick, and felt less. The child's breath came like an apology. "What do you call him?" he asked. "I don't say it out loud," she said. "Superstition. Safety." He nodded. The nick at 1 star point brought back a picture. His father's hands on a witness rail. His jaw set against the sheriff's questions. "Whose badge?" he asked. "His father's." "You're sure?" "I wish I weren't." Down on the road, the trucks blinked once. Then darkness. The engines died. Silence came back, tight as a noose. He killed the porch lamp and slid the bolt. "You came far," he said. "Far enough to be seen," she said. "What do they want?" "What they always want. Control. Papers. Bodies. Quiet. I don't keep quiet. You do, when it saves others." The remark hit the place where he kept his father. He had been a boy in a pew when his father said no. No had cost years. He handed the baby back. She adjusted the blanket with one hand. Her other hand clicked the kettle on as if she lived here. "You don't live here," he said. "Not yet." He almost smiled. "Food?" "No. Only time." "Time for what?" "To think. To breathe. To watch the road, not move." He poured water into 2 chipped mugs and found sugar by touch. He pushed a mug across the table. She did not touch the badge. Neither did he. The star looked wrong under his ceiling. He imagined nailing it to the gate like a warning. "Why me?" he asked. "You don't owe them," she said. "I don't owe you." "You will, if you send me back out." He took that in. He had fences down, and debts that slept in envelopes. He had one rule like a nail: never claim any child not his own. "Only 1 night," he said. Then 1 night. He listened for the road again. Crickets and the breath of the windmill. "They'll wait?" he asked. "They'll test locks," she said. They tried the weak door before dawn. "I don't have one," he said. "Everyone does." She looked at his hands. "Yours is mercy." He almost argued, then stopped. The baby hiccuped, a sound that chose him without permission. "If they push, I push back," he said. "If they push, we stay quiet," she said. "Noise draws bullets, quiet draws time. Time might be the fence we have." He led her to the kitchen. The dark felt crowded. The clock ticked like a shoe on a stair. He set the rifle on the counter. She sat, the baby in her lap, eyes on everything. He lowered the lamp until the badge caught a small slice of light. He tried to read her face. Widow was the word the town would use. He did not ask the man's name. He did not ask who put the nick in the star. He did not ask how the sheriff met the end everyone had kept in the back of the mind. "You won't look at me," he said. "If I look, I'll ask for more," she said. "What more? Another night?" He looked down at the child. The eyes were closed. He felt like a son asked to be a father by an enemy he could not see. The three sit in the dark kitchen, only the badge catching moonlight. The widow won't look at him. The child's breath is thin, like an apology. He opened the door, because the banging sounded like someone trying not to die. The rancher kept the rifle low, one eye on the night. A woman stood on the porch, dust on her face, a bundle locked tight in her arms. The bundle made a thin animal sound. He tasted old fear. Please, she said. Wrong house, he said. Right sin. She peeled back the blanket an inch. A copper badge flashed, a sheriff's star on a leather thong. His hand flinched. He had seen that shape in a courtroom where his father's name went cold. I can't keep him safe alone, she said. Find the law. The law made this. He looked past her shoulder. 2 truck lights idled on the road like eyes that did not blink. Engines purred without moving. You're hunted, he said. We are. The bundle coughed. The rifle grew heavier. Inside, he said. He stepped back. She crossed the threshold, like someone walking into water. He shut the door, while she set the badge on his table instead of the baby. Metal on wood sounded like a dare. Say what you want, he said. Shelter. 1 night. Nothing longer. 1 night might be all we have. They did not move. The house listened. He lifted the bundle from her arms. The weight surprised him. He had carried calves with more kick, and felt less. The child's breath came like an apology. What do you call him? He asked. I don't say it out loud, she said. Superstition. Safety. He nodded. The nick at 1 star point brought back a picture. His father's hands on a witness rail. His jaw set against the sheriff's questions. Whose badge? He asked. His father's. You're sure? I wish I weren't. Down on the road, the trucks blinked once. Then darkness. The engines died. Silence came back, tight as a noose. He killed the porch lamp and slid the bolt. You came far, he said. Far enough to be seen, she said. What do they want? What they always want. Control. Papers. Bodies. Quiet. I don't keep quiet. You do, when it saves others. The remark hit the place where he kept his father. He had been a boy in a pew when his father said no. No had cost years. He handed the baby back. She adjusted the blanket with 1 hand. Her other hand clicked the kettle on as if she lived here. You don't live here, he said. Not yet. He almost smiled. Food? No. Only time. Time for what? To think, to breathe, to watch the road not move. He poured water into 2 chipped mugs and found sugar by touch. He pushed a mug across the table. She did not touch the badge. Neither did he. The star looked wrong under his ceiling. He imagined nailing it to the gate like a warning. Why me? He asked. You don't owe them, she said. I don't owe you. You will, if you send me back out. He took that in. He had fences down, and debts that slept in envelopes. He had 1 rule like a nail. Never claim any child, not his own. Only 1 night, he said. Then 1 night. He listened for the road again. Crickets, and the breath of the windmill. They'll wait, he asked. They'll test locks, she said. They tried the weak door before dawn. I don't have one, he said. Everyone does. She looked at his hands. Yours is mercy. He almost argued, then stopped. The baby hiccuped, a sound that chose him without permission. If they push, I push back, he said. If they push, we stay quiet, she said. Noise draws bullets, quiet draws time. Time might be the fence we have. He led her to the kitchen. The dark felt crowded. The clock ticked like a shoe on a stair. He set the rifle on the counter. She sat, the baby in her lap, eyes on everything. He lowered the lamp until the badge caught a small slice of light. He tried to read her face. Widow was the word the town would use. He did not ask the man's name. He did not ask who put the nick in the star. He did not ask how the sheriff met the end everyone had kept in the back of the mind. You won't look at me, he said. If I look, I'll ask for more, she said. What more? Another night. He looked down at the child. The eyes were closed. He felt like a son asked to be a father by an enemy he could not see. The three sit in the dark kitchen, only the badge catching moonlight. The widow won't look at him. The child's breath is thin, like an apology. 3 taps, land soft on the door, too gentle for friends, and too neat for enemies, and the rancher feels the house climb into his chest. He stays in the kitchen shadow with one hand on the rifle and one ear on the quiet. He opens because not opening invites a louder knock. 2 deputies and a man in a suit fill the porch like a staged picture. The suit smiles without heat. Evening, the suit says. It was, the rancher says. The first deputy shows the medal at his hip. Seen a woman, he says. Plenty. Not lately, the rancher says. You planning to vote in the governor's race? The suit says. I don't vote with my door, the rancher says. The suit's eyes count chairs, shadows, and the unlit lamp. We heard crying, he says. Old pipes, the rancher says. A baby sound like pipes. The second deputy says. In a house this old, everything cries, the rancher says. In the cellar, the widow presses 2 fingers to the baby's lips and hums a tune that is not a hymn. The child stutters once, then settles into her coat. She keeps one hand on a beam and times his breath. Above, the suit rubs a thumb along the jamb and studies the dust like it carries answers. Mind if we look? He says. I mind, the rancher says. Got nothing to hide. The first deputy says. Got everything to protect, the rancher says. The suit lifts a calm hand. We can keep this neighborly, he says. Then stop testing locks, the rancher says. Floorboards whisper under his boots. He prays the baby sleeps. The suit smiles thinner. We heard more than pipes. You heard your own echo, the rancher says. A peek spares us paperwork, the suit says. A peek is a search, the rancher says. Under the floor, she rocks without moving. Hush, she whispers into the baby's hair. The baby gives a small complaint and swallows it. The second deputy leans as if air will tell him a secret. You living alone out here? He says. I live with work, the rancher says. Work doesn't cry, the deputy says. You haven't met my fences, the rancher says. The suit softens his tone. We don't want trouble, he says. Then change uniforms, the rancher says. The porch takes their weight and answers like old rope. He stands easy and lets the dark hold him. He thinks of his father on a witness rail, of the sheriff's grin, of how a town can turn a man into paper. Neighbor wouldn't make us ask twice, the first deputy says. A neighbor wouldn't come with guns, the rancher says. We can come back with paper, the second deputy says. Bring a tree if it helps you feel tall, the rancher says. The suit turns as if to leave, then pauses with a small clean smile. The governor likes men who cooperate, he says. The land likes men who shut gates, the rancher says. The suit studies the hinge, the latch, the old nail hole where a different sign once hung. You're touchy, he says. I'm tired, the rancher says. Men get tired when they hide things, the suit says. Men get tired when other men measure their doorway, the rancher says. A soft sound rises from the boards, more breath than voice. The suit tilts his head and pretends surprise. Pipes again, he says. Still old, the rancher says. If a widow did come, the suit says, slow, she'd need help. We could help. Your help looks armed, the rancher says. All help is, the suit says. The first deputy lets his holster kiss the frame. Let us walk the rooms, he says. Walk your truck, the rancher says. The second deputy's grin turns mean. You sure, friend? I'm certain, stranger, the rancher says. They stall another minute, testing him the way men test wire. He does not move. He keeps his voice even, because fear likes hurry. You finished? He says. For now, the suit says. Babies need fathers, the second deputy calls as he steps down. They need the truth first, the rancher says. The suit lifts 2 fingers in a lazy salute. Truth bends, he says. Not in a house this old, the rancher says. They step off the porch. Gravel whispers. Engines cough, taillights glow, and then cool like coals, deciding to be stone. The road swallows them. He stands in the doorway until the boards loosen and the kettle clicks itself calm. He shuts the door, sets the chain, and lays the rifle where his hand can still find it. He kneels by the cellar hatch and listens. Wood carries her breath to meet his. It's me, he says. It sounded like 3, she says. It was, he says. Did they ask about a woman? They ask about everything, he says. What did you give them? Nothing but my door, he says. You keep your promise, she says. I didn't make one, he says. You did when you opened, she says. He lifts the hatch. Cool air rises with the smell of dirt and apples gone soft. She climbs with the baby folded clothes. He sees how her shoulders shake only when the light touches them. You were steady, he says. I was stone, she says. Stones crack, he says. Then don't make me be one for long, she says. She looks at his pocket. You still carrying? That? It's carrying me, he says. Hang it up before it teaches you its language, she says. It already did, he says. The baby turns his face toward the dark, where a lamp would sit. The rancher feels the pull of wanting light, and does not give in. He closes the hatch and sets the pail on it, because habit is a fence when courage runs thin. He waits until the dust settles, until the house exhales. Then he lifts the cellar door. He stepped onto the cellar stairs and felt the air change. The cool smelled like earth and old apples. The boards above creaked and went still. He went down slow so his boots would not speak. She stood by the post with the baby tight to her chest, one hand on the beam, eyes on the hatch like she could see through wood. They'll come back, she said. With papers, he said, and fire, she said. He took the badge from his pocket and held it out. Take it. She did not reach. Keep it. It listens to you. It hears me curse, he said. Then it hears truth, she said. He turned the star until the nick found a thin thread of light. Why does it matter? He said. She watched the ceiling. The sheriff kept ledgers, names, debts, favors. Girls pushed into quiet. Boys turned into mistakes. Whole streets held by ink. Blackmail, he said. Inheritance, she said. You saw them, he said. I filed them when I still believed in paychecks, she said. I learned the weight of paper that hurts. You tried to burn them, he said. He caught me with the match, she said. He locked the worst book in the mill office safe and made me watch. He's gone now, he said. He is, she said. But the ledgers live. Men who smile keep them. Men who hold your hand too long. Men who price help. The ones on the porch, he said. They work for the pages, not the law, she said. So you came with a baby and a star and a plan, he said. I came with proof I cannot carry alone, she said. The child coughed and pressed his face into her collar. She tucked the blanket higher and swayed without moving. Let me, he said. She eased the baby into his arms. He held the weight like it could break. You have him, she said. For a minute, he said. The tiny fist opened and closed against his shirt. He kept his breath even so the child would not bar his fear. What do you want from me besides a roof? He said. Witness, she said. To what? He said. To your own heart changing, she said. It landed harder than a threat. He looked at the fist because he could not look at her. You think that is a job, he said. It is the job that changes the rest, she said. You want me to? Read your ledgers to the world, he said. I want you to stand next to me when I do, she said. You assume I will choose you over what keeps me alive, he said. I assume you know what kept your father in chains, she said. He looked at the beam and saw his father's hands. He rocked once. The child made a small sound and held to sleep. They used your name on him, she said. I heard it. You were there, he said. Filing his lies, she said. That office ate truth and paid me to carry the plates. If those books are real, they can be taken, he said. They can, she said. But they bite the hands that try alone. You want my hands, he said. I want your name beside mine when the room turns, she said. A nail popped overhead. He set the badge on a shelf beside old jars. He could not keep it on him and still feel like himself. Tell me the worst page, he said. Girls traded for debt relief, she said. First names, ages, notes, teaching. Them two smile. His throat closed. He missed the shelf with his hand and sat on the bottom step. Why didn't you leave then? He said. Leaving is only safe when someone stays, she said. I had a mother who needed pills and a brother who thought the badge meant safety. He hurt you, he said. He tried, she said. I made him bleed. He learned I could strike a match. He learned I could run. And the baby, he said. She met his eyes. Is not a debt, she said. He is a line. I will not let them write. He nodded. The badge caught a weak gleam like a warning or a promise. He checked the hatch and the steps and the places a foot might slip. This room had kept jars and tools and grief. Tonight, it kept something else. Sleep. Down here if you want, he said. I don't sleep, she said. I don't either, he said. They stood with that small truth between them. Wind went hard across the porch. The swing hit the siding again and again like a knock. Dust shook loose. He set his palm on the post and kept still for morning. Upstairs the house breathed once, long and slow, as if it had heard their vow. Outside the road held its breath, but he knew the road never sleeps, not out here. They spread the county map on the kitchen table and pinned its corners with a salt tin, a horseshoe, a chipped mug, and the badge. The baby slept in a drawer by the stove. The rancher kept his voice down because the boards liked to repeat things. The ledgers are in the old mill office, the widow said. Governor's brother owns it, he said. Power keeps records close, she said. You want me to break in? He said. I want you to open a door, she said. I'm not your soldier, he said. No, you're the boy who watched his father go to prison because of these pages, she said. The name Pay sat in his throat like a nail. Don't use him, he said. I'm using the truth, she said. He looked at the map until it became the courtroom floor he could still smell, his father's hands raw from chains. We go at dawn, he said. Now, she said. Now, fear sleeps late. He folded the map and slid it into his coat. Keys, back door sticks, left hinge, then shove. He strapped on his father's knife and tucked the handle under his belt. He slipped the badge into his pocket for luck he didn't believe in. You think that thing helps? He said. It makes men hesitate, she said. Sometimes hesitation kills, he said. Sometimes it buys 1 second, she said. He checked the lantern above the baby and left it burning, a circle of light like a promise. You sure? He asked. I'm past sure, she said. We go quiet, he said. We go true, she said. He looked back at the small body under a quilt stitched from feed sacks. He thought about his father's boots by the door the day the sheriff came. If we don't come back, he said. We come back, she said. If we don't, he said. Then the pages still move, she said. I spread them before dawn. I have places. What places? Church steps. Feed store wall. The school door, she said. He pictured each space with words taped to it. He shoved hope down. How many books? Enough to drown a liar. Names. Names you eat with. Names you hire. Names that own hard smiles. Old anger. Stood up. You kept filing, he said. She faced him. I kept breathing, she said. And now I light the match and hold it where everyone can see. He opened the door a finger's width and let Night test the room. It carried no engine. We take the truck, he said. We walk the last stretch. Gravel talks, gloves. She pulled a pair from her coat. I stole these from the office. First prayer, she said. You scared? He asked. Scared is honest, she said. Good honest keeps you alive. He locked the door from the porch hook and tucked the key in the jar by the steps where he always kept it. They crossed the yard. The dog didn't bark. He helped her into the truck and shut the door. Seatbelt, he said. She clicked it. If it makes you feel better. He started the engine and kept the lights off until the lane turned. The tires traced the ruts by memory. The badge knocked his thigh. Tell me why you care, she said. I can't stop seeing his hands, he said. Your father, he never named names. They wrote one for him. They wrote mine next to it. She was quiet. Then, we write our own, she said. You think ink beats guns, he said. Ink makes mothers talk, she said. Mothers already talk, he said. Not like this. Not when they read. Their daughters on paper, she said. He gripped the wheel. The town lay ahead with one eye cracked. He kept his speed slow. If we get caught, you let me speak, she said. I follow, or I fight, he said. Follow then. If it turns, you run, he said. I don't leave you, she said. You leave me if it saves him, he said. They reached the last curve before the mill road. He cut the engine and rolled to the cottonwoods. Crickets took back the sound. From here we walk, he said. Left hinge, then shove, she said again, like a spell. He tucked a knife lower, checked the flashlight he would not turn on, and touched the badge once in his pocket, as if touch might teach him which part of himself he would need. He left the lantern burning by the crib. He pictured it as he opened the truck door. Ready, ready. They stepped into the narrow road, stitched with barbed wire shadows. The mill rose ahead like a black tooth against a bruised horizon, and he did not look away. He jimmies the side door. It sighs like an old man deciding. The latch yields and dark takes them in. Oil and wet paper sour the air. He waits for his eyes to settle. The widow points with 2 fingers. Left file room. He keeps his voice low. You've done this. I've failed this. Machines sleep along the floor. Belts for spines. Shadows for blankets. All waiting for noise that will not come. They move between hulks that smell of old sweat. His boots find quiet. He checks exits and counts steps. The widow does not touch anything. She carries stillness like a tool. We aren't the first, he says. We won't be the last, she says. A drip taps time. He thinks of his father counting beats in a cell and hates that memory is its own lock. The file room waits with a door propped by a broken stapler. Cabinets stand in rows, stamped with years and initials. He pulls a handle. Rails shriek then. Settle. Pages shine like teeth. Lines count, favors owed, votes bought, bodies moved. A list names girls by first name and age. He flinches. The widow breathes in, breathes out. Take 'em all. He shakes his head. We'll drown if we try. She lays her palm on metal. Then take what sinks fastest. She lifts for ledgers, the worst. He trusts her to know where rot begins. He stuffs 2 into his coat. The weight rides him like a debt. Down the hall. A belt ticks. He stills. You hear that? He says. Houses keep sound, she says. Even places without beds remember who lied here. They slip to the office within the office, a glass cube. A calendar on the wall stopped before winter. A cigarette burned a crescent into the blotter and died. He pictures a hand pressing a signature like a throat, then checks the hall. A shadow floats across frosted glass, slow and patient. A voice comes through the wall, flat. You smell smoke. It is the first deputy. Another pair of boots, answers with a scrape. The widow grips his sleeve. Back window, she whispers. He nods. They ease open a side sash. Rust argues, then gives paper, rubs his chest. A small hiccup echoes along the frame. A child's sound where no child lives. You hear that, he says. Don't name it, she says. They slip into air that feels thinner. He reaches back and pulls her into the night. The badge in his pocket kisses the frame with a clink. He freezes. Inside, the deputy stops. The night listens. Far across town, a siren flourishes thin then larger, dragged by someone else's trouble. The deputy mutters and moves away. He lets his breath out and moves. They drop to gravel and keep low. The mill looms behind like a stomach that swallowed. Names. The air is wrong, charged with heat that has nowhere to go. The widow presses his shoulder. Move. They jog to the fence, breathe through mouths, trade ledgers to rest arms. The wire hums when he lifts it. She slides under. He follows and lets it hum shut. They make the cottonwoods and the truck. The hinge complains with a tiny grief. She climbs in. Ledgers thump between them. He starts the engine and leaves lights off, letting ruts tell him where to put the tires. The road unspools like a narrow promise. You think they saw us? He says. They felt us, she says. Buildings feel, men feel, later. He keeps his hands steady now. You hear it now, he says. Hear what? She says. The hiccup. It followed us, she says. Or we carried it. He breathes. We have 4. Enough to start a fire. Enough to start a war. Same word here. He nods. Steps at noon. Copies first. A teacher will help. 3 farm wives run printers faster than fear. He checks the mirror. No lights. Only a seam of sky. They do not turn on headlights until the lane takes them. The truck eases through the wash and climbs the last hump. The lantern by the crib lets his lungs work again. He parks by the pump and kills the engine. Night falls back into itself. They sit. We made it out, she says. Not the same as making it, he says. She gathers 2 ledgers and waits. They cross the yard with heads down. The house blinks them in. He unlocks and lets her pass first. The badge feels heavier. He sets the books on the table and listens to the quiet. It is not the same. It holds. Names now. He looks at her. We found more than paper, he says. We found weight, she says. Something followed us out, he says. Good, she says. Let it see us stand up. Lantern light made a small island on the kitchen table. The ledgers crouched inside it. The child slept in the drawer by the stove, one fist open on the quilt. He set a finger on the top book. She stood at his shoulder. Read a name, she said. Why? He said. Because saying a name is taking back breath, she said. He opened the ledger. His mouth dried. Pastor Reed. Girl. 14, he stopped. Keep going, she said. Councilwoman Hale. 2 ballots burned. He swallowed. They're all in it, she said. Even the good ones, he said. Especially, she said. He turned pages with care. Each line made the room smaller. He found the year that carried his father. My PA. False accounting. Debt. 1 confession. They bought his mouth, she said. He stared until the letters blurred. We take this to the newspapers, he said. Newspapers take money, she said. We go to church, he said. Church buries sin with hymns, she said. Then where? He said. Front steps. Noon. Read aloud, she said. They'll kill us, he said. They already did. We're just answering the door, she said. A hinge cry came from the drawer. He lifted the baby and paced slow. The warm weight fit his arm. He said. He likes the porch cadence, she said. Walk near the door. He walked. The breath leveled. The ledgers watched from the table. Say more. Names. she said. He read while standing. Road boss Clary. Gravel bid swapped. Judge Laird. Cash box. 3 hands. Keep going, she said. I can't see the end, he said. There isn't one, she said. He stopped at a thin column of girls marked by first name and age. A pinched sign sat by some. Heat rose in his face. I know these families, he said. They know each other, she said, and still they let it stand. He set the baby back and pulled the quilt higher. His chest hurt in a way that was not fear. If we read this, we don't get to be small again, he said. You were never small, she said. They taught you to bend. What if nobody stays to listen, he said. Then we keep reading until the road hears, she said. He looked at the badge on the hook and hated that he wanted it near. We need copies, he said. Places that won't fold, she said. The school, he said. The feed store, she said. Pastor Reed will lock his doors, he said. The doors open if mothers stand first, she said. He drew twine and wrapped the ledgers crosswise. What about the suit? He said. He'll come, she said. He lives on schedules. And the deputies? He said. They live on habits. We break one, she said. He wrote 4 names on a scrap. Reed, Hale, Clary, Laird. He did not write his father. If I lose my temper, pull me back, he said. I'll let you burn only what needs burning, she said. What needs it? He said. Lies. Fear. That badge language in your head, she said. You afraid? He said. Yes, she said. You? Yes, he said. Good, she said. Fear is honest. They stood close to the lamp. When you read your father's line again, say his first name, she said. Say it like you give it back. He hated crowds, he said. He hated liars, she said. He read the line again and said the name. The sound shook something loose. There, she said. What about you? He said. What do I say about you? She looked at the drawer glow. Say I got tired of writing what men told me to write, she said. Say I learned to file a match. He gathered the ledgers into a sack and tied the twine twice. At dawn we walk, he said. At dawn you carry the child, she said. Why? He said. So they see you, she said. So your hands are full when men try to make them empty. What if he cries? He said. Then the town hears what truth sounds like, she said. He checked the door and chain his father hung after the trial. He slid at rest, she said. We have an hour, if we're lucky. I'll read until luck gets here, he said. He opened another ledger and let the papers show how the town arranged itself when nobody watched. He read names low. She answered with dates and places. The lamp hissed and steadied. The child slept. The past did not. A choice formed with every page. It settled like a tool in his hand. He stood by the door at dawn, child on his shoulder. Ledgers tied with twine. The road to town gleamed like a knife, cleaned for supper. The courthouse square holds its breath at noon when the bell rings and the sound hooks every window. He climbs the steps with the sack and the child on his shoulder and the widow beside him. People pretend to look past them, but eyes snag and stay. He raises a ledger. His voice shakes, then steadies like a hand finding a rail. These are names and debts. If you hear yours, stay. The widow steps forward and sweeps faces the way a teacher does. If you hear a child's pain, stay. Deputies linger in shade. Passers be slow and drift, making a ring that claims it isn't a crowd yet. He opens the book to the page that still smells like oil and dust. The first name hurts to say and feels clean after. He reads 3 names. A woman cries and covers her mouth with both hands. A man curses and leaves fast, as if walking can unhear. He reads 2 more lines, so there is no doubt. Pastor Reed steps forward, with his face white as old paint. This is gossip, the pastor says. It's ink, the widow says. Ink lies, the pastor says. Then sue the page, the rancher says. Laughter rises, nervous and thin, then breaks. Councilwoman Hale strides up with her chin high and her hands neat. You're dangerous, Hale says. I'm done being quiet, he says. Your father was a thief, Hale says. Your ballots were kindling, he says. Murmurs swell, the line between Sunday and trial day blurs. The widow lifts a second ledger and sets it on the step for anyone to touch. No one does. She points to the stamped dates. These are not rumors, she says. These are receipts. An old woman nods once and stays put. The deputies look away like shade suddenly feels bright. He lifts the next ledger and lets it speak. He reads a date, a dollar amount, the use of a county truck on a night a river rose where it should not have. He names a store and a judge and a room with a locked window. Someone spits. Someone prays. A girl near the feed store door looks at her shoes until the widow says, "Eyes up." The girl looks up. The child grunts against his shirt. He adjusts his hold and keeps going because stopping would teach the wrong lesson. He feels his father's name waiting like a hook and holds it for later. Suit from before appears on the edge of the crowd with a smile that won't warm. He talks like he sells weather. That child looks tired, the suit says. He's awake. So are we, the widow says. You're making a show, the suit says. We're making a record, the rancher says. The suit glances toward the shade where the deputies stand and counts. The bell stops. The silence after is the loudest thing all week. He can hear flies. He can hear a truck on the far road. He can hear the slide of paper under his thumb as he turns the page. Pastor? Reed finds his voice again and tries to put the hour back in a box. You could have come to me first, the pastor says. We did, the widow says. Every girl did. You closed your door and said you would pray. That's not fair, the pastor says. Fair is dead, the widow says. Hale turns to the crowd like they are a meeting. We cannot let this poison spread, Hale says. You already spread it, the rancher says. You fed it. You called it order. Murmurs thicken, not polite now, the sound of something that won't go back to sleep. He looks to the lower steps where the poor stand, because the rich will not scuff their shoes. A woman in a field dress says, "Keep going." He nods. He points to the stack. These are not the last, he says. There are copies. The suit laughs once and stops when nobody joins him. The widow lifts her chin toward 3 farm wives by the fountain. One raises a sheaf of fresh pages. We brought ink, the widow says. We brought places to hang it, one wife says. A boy drags a milk crate over and stands on it to see. An old man removes his hat. He sees the deputies slide their boots and watches their hands. He keeps his own still, so the town copies him, not them. Hale steps back and uses a phone. The pastor stares at the stone where the war dead are carved and looks smaller than he did at sunrise. The rancher opens the ledger to his father's ear and says the first name out loud, steady and clear. He puts it in the air and leaves it there. Someone whispers, "Amen." He lifts the book again. A stone arcs from the crowd and cracks the spine. Pages leap, then wheel, then scatter like startled birds. Wind snaps a flag above them. Papers leap into the noon wind, and the square gasps. He lunges, scoops pages off stone, shoves them into his coat like he can cage names with cloth. A sheet slaps his cheek and skids toward the gutter. He dives and palms it. A hard hand clamps his wrist and drags him upright. You're under arrest, Deputy 2 says. For reading, he says. For breathing too proud, the deputy says. The grip bites. He twists and feels the old ache in his shoulder. The child cries once, thin and sharp. The widow shoves the stroller to a quiet old woman near the war monument. Watch him, she says. Marta sets a steady hand on the baby's chest, like a blessing. Your father was decent, boy, Marta says. He blinks. You knew him, he says. I wrote the numbers. I wrote the lies. I can write a new line, Marta says. The deputy jerks his wrist again. hands behind, the man says. Don't, the widow says. The deputy grins without pleasure. You giving the order now? I'm giving you a mirror, she says. The suit raises 2 fingers from the edge of the crowd and points. Deputies start forward. Enough theater, the suit says. The rancher plants his heels on the stone and wheels his arm to be a fence. You missed the ledger under the ledger, Marta says. She slips a chain over her head and holds a key that looks older than the paint on the courthouse. Office safe. Bottom, false floor. You kept it, the widow says. I kept proof for when the town remembered itself, Marta says. The suit's head tilts. Who is she? He says. No question mark in his voice. The woman who filed your sins, Marta says. And now I file quits. The deputy starts to pull the rancher down the steps. The widow lifts a whistle and blows once. The sound cuts the heat clean. 3 farmwives step from the fountain, with copies held high and faces set. Farmwife 1, read. Farmwife 2, read. Farmwife 3, read. Voices answer like matches. Names spill from 5 places at once. People turn in circles, not sure where to stare. The deputy hesitates because the square is no longer 1 voice and a wrist. It is many. The suit flicks his fingers again, as if flicking ash. Cuff him, he says. He's done. He just started. The widow says. She steps closer to the deputy and looks at his hand until he looks at it too and loosens without meaning to. The rancher tears free and stumbles up 2 steps. You got flight in you, the deputy says. I got ground, he says. He looks down at Marta. You're sure about that key? I was the one who bought it, Marta says. The sheriff preferred secrets to vacations. The suit stares at the growing noise and finally loses his neat smile. This is illegal, he says. This is public, the widow says. Public breaks if you push it, he says. It breaks open, she says. A stack of pages skids to the boots of a man with a feed cap. He bends, reads, and stays where he is. Another page lands against the courthouse door. A girl peels it off and hands it to her mother. The mother reads and covers her mouth. The first deputy scans the circle and measures which way trouble leans. He doesn't like the math. Back it up, he says to no one the square respects. Marta watches him as if he were a column in a ledger. You think cuffs fix numbers? She says. They just add 1 more line. The suit steps closer to the widowed stroller and tries a softer tone. Lady, that child's tired, he says. He's awake, the widow says. So are we. She nods to the wives. They read together, clean and loud, the same word, 3 times, on 3 different mouths. Enough, the suit says again, smaller. We can negotiate. With who? The rancher says. With what's left of your good name. The suit's jaw works. Don't get holy on me, he says. You think a badge makes this holy? The widow says. All it makes is paperwork, the suit says. Good, Marta says. Start filing. Sirens rise from the highway, heavy and humorless, pouring through the heat like metal rain. The town holds its breath again and waits to see who it belongs to. Blue lights bloom on the hill and boots start hitting gravel. Blue lights rake the square as patrol cars park with a show of teeth. Engines idle hard enough to thin every voice. He stands with the child on his shoulder and the sack of ledgers by his boot. The widow steps forward, small and steady, as if a body can draw a line no boot should cross. Doors open. Boots hit. A man in a crisp uniform steps down, hat brim cutting the heat into rules. He reads faces, paper on the steps. Shade where deputies wait. Disperse, the colonel says. Investigate, the widow says. I don't answer to you, he says. You answer to this. She lifts the badge. He pauses. The nicked star means paperwork, witnesses, headlines. He takes it and feels the weight. Where's the sheriff? He asks. In the ground, she says. Who killed him? His debts. The rancher watches her mouth Twist truth braided with silence she won't cut yet. The colonel studies pages on the stone, mothers in a strict line, deputies rehearsing blank faces. His voice lowers. Give me one ledger, he says. The rest, vanish. I'll open a case. No more vanishing, she says. We keep copies, the rancher says. You're making enemies you can't see, the colonel says. They're already here, she answers. They wear suits. He nods to a lieutenant. Catalog, photograph. Don't shout. Cameras lift. Tape lines appear. The suit backs off with his phone pressed tight. Colonel, you're losing the room, the suit says. I'm keeping the piece you rented out, the colonel says. The suit flicks a glance at the badge in his hand. This isn't a parade. It's evidence. Evidence belongs to the state, the suit says. Evidence belongs to the truth, the widow says. The colonel's jaw works like he's choosing a road he can defend. The rancher shifts the child higher. The boy sighs. People watch that more than the guns. Deputy 2 shoulders forward. We still cuffing, he says. You're still listening, the colonel says. Back your men one line. Keep your triggers dumb. The deputy moves, because callers still matter. Marta steps to the tape and rests her hand on the stack like checking a fever. You take the right book, she says. She lifts a key from her neck. Bottom safe. False floor. He studies her hands, then her face, and believes the steadiness that made numbers stand. Who are you? He asks. The woman who filed your sins, she says. The one who stopped. The suit frowns like he tasted dust. What's your play? The suit asks. Contain heat, the colonel says. And you? He asks the rancher. Don't let the fire go out, the rancher says. The suit gestures at the child, bold while holding a prop. He's not a prop, the widow says. He's proof, the rancher says. Proof of what? That I can carry 2 things at once. A book and a lie, the suit says. A book and a life, she says. The words land flat and stay. A trooper raises a camera. Hold a page, he tells the widow. She does. Her hand doesn't shake. The colonel watches the square like it might tilt. He has seen crowds turn and break. He doesn't want either today. He turns to the rancher. Help me keep the ground steady, he says. How? Stand where they can see you and say you'll hand over copies when called. We hand them in public, the rancher says. In rooms with eyes. That is my ask, the colonel says. Say it. Give him one, Marta says. Give him the book that cuts straight. The widow nods. We plan to read, until the light failed. Read while we count, he says, and you keep 3. From the fountain, a farm wife calls. You're late to decency. I'm here, he says. Not apology. A marker. The rancher feels a truth sit beside him. He wanted paper to be enough, and shouting to move the ground. Now he sees ground changes when someone signs it, and stands thereafter. He hates that he will have to show up again and again in rooms that smell like dust and fear. You're thinking about your father, the widow says under breath. He told me, don't let them write you, he says. Then write yourself, she answers. A signature is still a choice. He looks at the badge in the colonel's hand and knows the star means hours he never wanted. The suit edges back, selling names into his phone. Deputies shift like men missing their cue. The town holds still, carried by a boy on a crate reading lines he learned 5 minutes ago. The colonel lifts the ledger Marta chose. This one comes with me, he says. You keep 3, and your copies. Bring the copies when called. We bring them, the widow says. We don't let them disappear, the rancher says. You will hand them over in view of a room full of eyes, the colonel says. And I will stand in that room. The suit mutters. This is chaos. This is record, Marta says. Troopers drop numbered cards by each loose page on the stone. A girl reads a line and does not look away. The bell stays quiet, as if the tower is listening. Marta touches the stroller and nods. Hold his head while you talk, she tells the rancher. Let them see you do two things well. He settles the child and squares his shoulders. We'll be here when you call, he says to the colonel. Say it louder, the colonel says. He does. His voice comes back from the doors and settles. Over the square. We'll be here. The colonel turns to his lieutenant. Badge photos. Mother's 2 statements. Deputy's 2 shade. The lieutenant moves. The suit spits a word he can't swallow and steps away. Widows of older wars stand by the monument with hands like anchors. He watches them and understands some people did not come to be persuaded. They came to be counted. Afternoon heat slips. Toward dusk. Blue lights lose their edge. The last read name hangs in the air. The rancher hears his father again. Son, don't let them write you. He closed the door with care. Like noise might cost more than the day already had. Same night. Kitchen quiet. Adrenaline gone. Ledgers tied in twine. The lamp was low. The widow stood with the baby, swaying without thinking. He kept moving because stillness made thoughts loud. Say it, she said. Say what? That you'll never claim him. I won't say it. Not saying is different from saying the truth, he paced. I barely know you, he said. No. This, she said. He didn't ask to be born into ledgers. Every man I knew who took in a stray got punished for it. Maybe stop letting the world punish you for kindness. Silence held. The baby laughed in his sleep, first time all night. He sat, defeated by a giggle. What if I fail him? He asked, smaller. Then you will have tried. That's more than most. He looked at the badge on the hook, then at the child, then at his hands, as if they were strangers who had borrowed him. The nick glinted like a kept wound. He hurt his father anyway. Son, don't let them write you. You think this is about writing, he said. It's about breath. I'm still catching mine. It's about what you call him, she said. Life or debt. You ask me to step into a fire. I ask you to stop letting me burn alone. He reached for the child. Let me, he said. You already are, she said, and set the baby in his arms. The weight was nothing and everything. Warmth soaked his shirt. The boy made a sleepy, mouthed and settled. He rocked without thinking. He smells like milk, he said. He smells like tomorrow, she said. Tomorrow gets men hurt. Tomorrow happens anyway. He walked the room, slow. They'll try again, he said. Papers. And fire, she said. I can fight men, he said. I can't fight paper that says I stole a child. Stand where everyone can see you, she said. You mean the steps. I mean the steps until the town remembers its name. If I say it, I can't take it back. That's why it matters. What do I tell him when he asks why I didn't show sooner? Tell him men taught you to fear the wrong things, she said. Tell him you learned. What do I tell the town? Nothing. Let the town read what it wrote today. And you, tell me the truth. He stared at the badge because it was easier than her hope. He had promised never to claim a child not his own, and used that rule like work to hide from love. He hated seeing it. You think my asking is a trick, she said. I think the town loves tricks. A name is a door. Open it, and air moves. Names turn into chains. Only when men decide they like chains. You're asking a man to choose. Different I am. Choose different. He looked at his hands. Same hands that fixed pumps and cut wire. Tonight they looked new, like they belonged to someone he might let himself be. He kissed the baby's forehead without planning it. The kid sighed and slept deeper. You hear that? He said. Hope, she said. Don't call it that. Call it what you can carry. All right? Say it, she said again, quiet, just for them. He looked at the nicked star, at the pale square of wall, where sun once faded paint, before a trial changed the house. He heard his father's boots in memory, and decided he could stand being seen. I'll never claim him like a debt, he said. I'll claim him like a life. The words landed and stayed. The kitchen eased. She closed her eyes. He held the boy and let the choice root. You'll get punished, she said. I already was. Then we start new. We start honest. The lamp hissed and steadied. Outside, the swing tapped the siding. He set the child in the drawer bed and tucked the quilt. The small hand opened and rested on nothing. You hungry? He said. No. Tired. Sit. She sat. He poured water. They drank like it was enough. A knock came, softer than law, steadier than fear. They looked at each other. He lifted the child again, because it felt right. Careful, she said. Always. He opened to Marta, carrying a cloth bundle. She stepped in without asking, which told him she belonged. I brought something, Marta said. For the morning, he said. For your father, she said. The bundle looked heavy and old. He felt the floor tilt. The widow set the latch. The house held its breath and waited to hear what the past would ask of the new name he had just spoken. Marta set the cloth bundle on the table and the house leaned toward it. He smelled paper and dust, the kind that carries names. The widow stood by the drawer where the child slept, one hand on the knob like a promise. He kept his feet planted, because the ground felt different since he said what he said. Open it, he said. Marta untied the knot and unrolled linen. Letters lay in stacks, each tied with blue thread. He wrote these to himself. Marta said scenes need readers. He slid one free. It was the sheriff's hand, neat and sure. Lines marched about duties, about favors done and owed, about the comfort of power. Then a page turned cruel. Say it, the widow said. He wrote, about my father, he said. He refused to sign a false confession. He turned another sheet. Then the sheriff threatened the boy. You, she said. His stomach dropped like a trapdoor. The chair caught his knees and he sat hard. He saw the ring, the hall, the door, his father's face learning how to lose without breaking. He saved me, he said. He paid for it, Marta said. Silence held. The widow's voice came steady. Then this ends with the truth, said aloud, not just stamped. Marta opened more letters. Names ran like fence line. He kept accounts of himself, she said. Kept praises too. Wrote what he deserved and what we owed him. Never mailed a one. He reached for another. Nights at the mill. Girls sent home with smiles and coats they did not want. A note about a boy's father who would fold if the boy was touched. He put the page down because his hands shook. There's one more, Marta said. She raised a small envelope. J, in clean ink. He knew the curve. My mother, he said. Marta passed it to him. He broke the flap, read one line, and could not finish. Say it, the widow said. He asked her to forgive him for staying quiet, he said. She nodded. Then you speak. He wiped his face with the heel of his hand and hated the wet there and did not hide it. He looked at Marta. Why did you keep these? Because the town forgets, Marta said. Because a boy would need to know why his father wore shame he didn't earn. Because I filed lies too long and wanted one drawer that held the other thing. How many knew? The widow asked. Enough to stop it, Marta said. None who would pay the price. He touched the blue thread. He saw his father at the sink after court, washing a clean plate. He saw his mother fold the good sheet and leave a fold wrong, so there was one small thing she could fix. He wanted to press these pages to every door. I thought I hated a badge, he said. I hated what men did with it. So don't let them do it again, the widow said. He stood. The room steadied around him. I'm tired, he said. I know, she said. I'm angry. Good, but more tired than angry. Marta set a bundle in his hands. Then stand on proof, she said. The ground holds if you bring proof. He looked at the star on the hook. He was scared for me, he said. He signed because he loved me. She touched the back of his arm. Say his name. He did, and air came back. Tomorrow, Marta said. Tomorrow? Boy. Tonight, he said. If I sleep, I'll build a smaller story, and I won't fit in it. He gathered the letters he needed, and the ledger they had chosen, and wrapped them in the sack. He checked the drawer. The child slept with both hands open, as if he trusted air to hold them. The widow tied her coat and took the lamp. Marta waited at the door. He lifted the latch and felt the pull of the yard. He stepped out onto his own porch, as if it was a gallows and a pulpit, and knew the voice had to be his. Night was clear. Boards showed their nails. The road kept its thin shine. The house breathed behind him, not only his anymore. The widow stood at his side with her shoulders squared. Marta held the blue threads. Say it all, Marta said. Don't save anyone, the widow said. I won't, he said. He looked up. The moon was high. Coyotes sang like women who had run out of patience, and he did not flinch. He lifted the sack and breathed once. Tonight, we write the town back. Start with your father, Marta said. Start with the girls, the widow said. Start with the truth, he said. He stepped forward once. He stood on the porch with the sack at his feet and the letters under his palm and let the night look at him. She waited in the doorway, lamp low, face steady. He didn't whisper. He wanted the house and the road to hear what the day had changed. In him, my father was decent. He was broken by men with pens. I won't be, he said, voice rough. Wind fingered the eaves. He kept talking. I will not let this child be a debt. I will not let a badge tell me who I am. The widow stepped beside him, not touching, close enough to warm his arm. I'll stop running. Here, she said. You'll be hunted, he said. I'm tired of running with my back to the sun. He lifted the sack so the papers touched his chest. Hear me, he said to rail and gate. We say the names until they stop owning breath. You're sure, the widow said. I'm sure enough, he said. Then say one more thing for yourself. His throat fought him, then gave up. I choose this house, he said. I choose this child. A slow clap came from the gravel. Soot stood beyond the gate with a smile that wanted to pass for polite. Sweet, the Soot said. Now hand over the papers. Come take them, the rancher said. I already did, the Soot said, lifting a ledger, not the copies, but enough to hurt. You're late, the widow said. We sent the rest 220 churches, 10 barbers, 1 stubborn school teacher. You made a mess, the Soot said. We made a map, the rancher said. Maps burn, the Soot said. So do men who stand too close to them, the rancher said. You think crowds save you, he said. No, the widow said. We save each other. You think the colonel can buy you time forever. He bought himself paperwork, the rancher said. We bought eyes. The Soot let the ledger hang from 2 fingers. You stole this, he said. We returned it, the rancher said. Returned to who? To the people it was taken from. Try saying that under oath, the Soot said. Gladly, the widow said. Inside, the baby cried once, then, quieted. The house breathed with him. You can walk back to your car, the rancher said, or you can keep clapping. Threats, the Soot said. A choice, the widow said. I like choices, he said. They make blame simple. Blame is already simple, she said. You wrote it. You two think you're brave, he said. We think we're done being quiet, the rancher said. Quiet kept your father alive a little longer, the Soot said. Quiet kept the sheriff working, the widow said. And now he's dead, the Soot said. And the ledgers live, she said. Not for long. Long enough, the rancher said. The Soot eyed the lamp square on the shade. You plan to keep that child. We plan to keep him safe, the rancher said. By making enemies. By making records, the widow said. You don't scare easy, he said. We scare right, the rancher said. And we scare together. The suit tucked the ledger under his arm and stepped back 2 paces. "You'll beg me yet," he said. "You'll run out of places to stand," the widow said. He retreated, but not far. He wanted to watch, to enjoy the spark he thought would burn them. The rancher felt the old urge to chase. He didn't move. "Good night," he said. "This isn't over," the suit said. "That's the point," the widow said. The lane took him. Silence sat again, heavy but theirs. He let his head drop, then lift. "You spoke," the widow said. "I meant it," he said. "So did I." She reached for his hand and didn't take it. She let it be there, ready. "Come inside," she said. "In a minute," he said. "I want the land to hear it again." He faced the dark and gave the words once more, low and meant for soil and fence posts. "My father was decent. He was broken by men with pens. I won't be. I will not let this child be a debt." He listened, like the ground might answer. It didn't, but it felt changed anyway. Inside, the drawer creaked and settled. The house felt different, wider, where fear used to sit. He stepped across the threshold with the sack, set it by the table, and stood until his breath matched the child's. "Sleep if you can," the widow said. "I can't," he said. "Then be still." He was, for a count that could have been a prayer. Dawn stained the horizon. Somewhere between coyotes and roosters, a new sound rose, many feet, many voices, coming down the road filled, before the sun cleared the trees. Marta led, shoulders straight, her hand holding the same key she had shown the night before. Behind her came the 3 farmwives, skirts dusty, eyes set. A mechanic walked still in grease, a teacher with chalk dust on her skirt, and a boy carrying a cardboard sign that read "Truth pays us back." More trailed them, hats in hand, children wide-eyed. Feet beat the dirt in a rhythm that sounded, decided. They reached the porch and began to lay things down. A casserole dish wrapped in a towel, a loaf of bread, letters folded in envelopes, photocopies stacked with staples, a jar of coins that clinked soft. The table, once only his, became theirs. The teacher set her chalk stub on top. "We read," she said. The mechanic rubbed his hands and nodded. "We fix." Farmwife 2 pushed the stroller forward. "We watch the child while you 2 sleep." The rancher looked at all of it, undone. "Why?" he asked. Marta's voice cut through. "Because ledgers are heavy, and you can't carry them alone." He looked to the fence line. The suit lingered there, skulking, counting people, weighing odds. His phone gleamed in his hand, like a weapon with no barrel. The widow took the baby from the drawer bed and faced the rancher. "Say it if you mean it. Don't say it if you don't." She held the boy out. He took him, and it felt like holding a future that could kick. He lifted his head, clear. "I'll never claim that child," he said. She flinched. He finished. Steady, like a debt. "I'll claim him like a life." Gasps ran through the crowd, then a scatter of soft laughter, then a murmur that sounded like water finding its bed. The boy with the sign lifted it higher. Marta exhaled like someone set. Free. At the fence. The suit's smile died again. He turned away, phone to his ear. This war just got expensive. A car rolled up, state plate gleaming. The colonel leaned out the window. "Paperwork started," he said. "It'll grind. Keep your copies." The rancher stepped closer. "We have voices now." The colonel tipped his hat. Not quite an apology, not quite a threat. He drove on. Children ran in the yard, where the sheriff used to park when he wanted to frighten folks. Their shouts turned the ground less owned. The widow leaned against the post. "We build a place with no ledgers." The rancher nodded. "We build a place where a badge means protection, not purchase." Marta laughed once, tired, free. "I'll bring nails." The picture widened. Chairs dragged into shade, pages pegged on a line like laundry, names read without fear. The house, no longer just his. He stepped over the threshold with the child and turned to the widow. "Come home," he said. She smiled, soft but rooted. "I already did." The porch light clicked off in daylight, a small mistake that felt like grace. The wind carried no secrets for once. The child's tiny fist opened on the rancher's shirt, clutching nothing, needing everything. The badge sat on a hook by the door, no longer a threat but a reminder.